Sup, playa? It's another road trip video with me. I'm thinking, I'm like working on a vision statement and mission statement for the gym. And the gym is really just a reflection of myself. So, and while I'm doing it, I'm thinking like, what is the difference between like people who have their bodies in check and the ones who don't? I just envision somebody who's severely overweight, taking pills every day to try to combat their diseases and headaches and all that kind of stuff. Drinking and eating low quality foods. Just in general, just not living like a disciplined lifestyle. Like I saw, that's one extreme. And you can go as extreme as you want with that. And it's like you can even ask yourself, what is the quality of life of that person? Just by looking at them, you can assume that the quality of life is going to be harder to get around. They're probably going to miss out on a lot more like social stuff just because they don't feel like being a part of it or whatever it may be. Versus, somebody, you just by looking at them, you can tell that they have a physically fit body. They eat high quality foods, drink plenty of water. They're doing like they read every day. They very disciplined in general, physically. Now, the only difference, this is really why I wanted to create the video, is because the only difference between those two people is that one person decided that they were going to live a certain way, and the other person just considers living a disciplined lifestyle. They like the idea of it, but they'll get to it tomorrow, and they just keep putting it back. So they really just never had firmly decided that that's what they're going to do. And for the person that's disciplined, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and it doesn't mean it ever was easy. It just means that even if it's hard, they're okay. They're going to be okay with that in order to get the results that they want. And maybe it's seeing the other type of person that is a driving force for those results, where it's like, well, I'm not going to be like that when I'm 50, 60, 70 years old. So the only way I'm going to not be that way is by living this other lifestyle. So, or maybe they're inspired by somebody else who had lived a disciplined lifestyle. But here's the thing. In your mind, you have to be convinced and all in on not only what you want in life, but you have to be able to, and God gave us this gift to be able to look at where we can be, where we would be in 12 months from now, even 3 months from now, 10 years from now. We can imagine what type of lifestyle we may want to have, who we'll be surrounded by, what we'll be doing. All those things, we have the ability to actually like create an image in our mind. And it may be really hard to create that image. You can be like, let's say you're 300 pounds, and the image you really badly want to see yourself at 180 pounds. but it's just like unimaginable. It's just like I just can't imagine losing that much weight. I don't even know what I would look like. But then you think like, well, can you imagine yourself at 270? Right? That's not that far away. Can you imagine the habits that it takes to drop 30 pounds? That's not too bad. I mean, I know what I need to do in order to do that. Or you have, like, let's say you have knee pain. Well, can you imagine what life would be like without that knee pain? And maybe you've lived with it for so long that it's actually very hard for you to even imagine what movement and without, not taking pain pills or whatever it is that how you cope with it, avoiding certain tasks. You don't even know what that's going to feel like. But can you at least imagine the person who doesn't have knee pain, or what it would look like to step away from that knee pain? Maybe it's certain exercises, or people who go to physical therapy, doing some rehab movements. You know what I mean? Like, you just start to envision it. And that's something I've been trying to put into practice and actively working on doing, is envisioning what it is, what lifestyle, what habits, all that kind of stuff that I need to be doing in order to create the better outcome, the life I imagine. And I think it's an important thing that can be very easily forgotten, and we are in total control of. So don't sell yourself short. Don't get discouraged. Like, do the hard things, okay? But it all starts in your mind. Okay, you don't actually have to go out and do all the things that are hard in order and that are gonna eventually produce the results. But if you can start to just imagine those things, if you've been struggling showing up to the gym, even a couple days a week, you can start to imagine yourself walking into the gym, and that may be fearful. Like, you may just hesitate on that a little bit, but if you can get to a point where it's like, okay, it's not so bad just pulling into the parking lot, walking in the doors, one of the coaches is going to be there, I'm going to explain that I've been gone for a little bit, or that, I want to keep the intensity low, and I'm in it. There's going to be other people in there working out. They're going to be focusing on what they're doing. And I can dedicate 1 hour to just showing up and getting some work done and making sure I feel better about myself when I leave. Okay. But you can do this with any part of your life. That's the great part. One day, a couple things that stand out to me personally is that it was about a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago. I had... Sorry. In my mind, I was living in my house, and I'll be honest, the inside and the outside of the house was not in great condition. It was something I neglected for a very long time. And I said I was going to get around to it. Oh yeah, next year will be my year. Next year will be my year. And I realized that the people I was surrounding myself with weren't actually like empowering me and giving me the type of energy I needed in order to fix up my house, spend the time I wanted to on it, feel secure, in those behaviors. And not long after that, I had to ask them to move out. I had to find financing, yeah, and decide affirmatively that I'm going to, stay at this house. I'm going to fix it up. I can't live like this anymore. And, as many of those steps were uncomfortable because there was a lot to do, but God is so good. And when you decide in your mind and you take action, He will show you a way, give you the power, and slowly you'll just start to, work towards that. Hi, Ari. And sure enough, pretty much the week that I asked my roommates to move out, and I decided I'm going to do this. I got a grant through West Des Moines for basically $25,000 to help with the exterior of the house. So any of that money could have gone to that. I started in one bedroom. I knew I wanted to replace the floors because they were in really bad condition and squeaky and gross with face nails everywhere. And, I was like, well, that's not the floor I want. And so I started one room, just started ripping it all up. First room, I find termite damage. And so I call out an exterminator. He gives me a game plan. And then I find out, okay, it's not actually that hard to treat termites. And I look around the exterior of the house just to find out that they've done that in the past. So most likely that's old news anyway. But what I'm saying is, after one room, I did another and another and another. And I even had a bunch of friends from the community group come over and help me tear up floors. And it was a slow process, putting all new subfloor back down and everything. But where I didn't stop because I was so determined that I wasn't going to live the way I was living. So finally get all the floors done. I live with just new subfloor. I just lived like that for a while until I figured out okay, how am I going to finance the next phase of this? But in the meantime, I got paint up on all the walls and patched up all the holes. I created a completely new walkway, built out a pantry, and, it's coming together. And another example would be, who my partner in life was, and the types of partners that I was trying to choose. When it comes to dating, I was failed relationship after failed relationship after failed relationship, long relationships too, a lot of them. And it's just okay, clearly I'm not being attracted to the right type of person. So it's what type of person do I need to be in order to attract the right person that I want in my life? So I started to change my values. I started to, be more serious about developing my character, and also searching for the right character instead of just looking for somebody like me. Somebody I was just trying to find a mirror before, somebody who doesn't matter characteristics, because really I end up finding somebody who's like me but not like me. So and lo and behold, I find a relationship. We start dating, and it goes incredibly well the whole time. We stick to our boundaries and morals, and taking more of a Christian, old school approach. And now I'm married, and she's living with me, and she's awesome. And she gave me this dog. Just kidding. It's her dog, but now it's our dog. Her name's Ari. Yes. So, hopefully we'll be able to create a family and, that type of lifestyle. But those examples, all I'm saying, yes, good for you, Chris. That's great. It is great because God's great. But all I'm saying, I'm saying that for an example because I was living the life that I was. I was living in the house condition that I was in the dating reality that I was living in because I was just circulating it over and over and over again. I was okay with living like that because I had conditioned myself to being okay with living like that. And until I made up in my mind that it just was not okay, and I needed to change, I needed something to change, I needed to envision something better. When I envisioned it better, it started there. It started with a vision. And then slowly, as I walk around the house, as I walk around as a single person, viewing other couples that, are a little bit more like inspiring to what I want in my life, I start to cultivate this mindset of like, and conviction that like, yeah, I'm not going to continue living like this. So I'm going to actively move towards the other direction. I'm not going to, like, I don't believe I was put on this earth to be single the rest of my life. And I considered that. And I didn't think that was true to me. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get more intentional about, dating and whatnot. And finding somebody and I started dating with one objective, knowing that whoever I dated, it wasn't to date. It was to make that woman my wife. And that dating relationship wouldn't go more than 3 months without me knowing for sure whether I was going to marry that person. And it didn't even take that long. It didn't take even a week of dating when I knew Jamie was going to be my wife. Or not going to, but I wanted her to be my wife. Luckily, she felt the same way. So we actually, even though we got married in less than a year, we actually played it slow. We probably would have gotten married in about 4 or 5 months if we didn't just like, talk ourselves out of it a little bit. We were just like, oh, let's go a little bit slower. Don't want people thinking like we're too crazy. But we were crazy for each other. So anyway, yeah, well, basically, I just want to encourage and inspire other people. And I know that it looks like my physical discipline life is in check. It's not always, okay? But I chose a long time ago that I have goals for, aesthetics. Aesthetically, I'm not going to allow myself to look over like just unhealthy. Okay. That's just not okay with me. So I will continue to work out when I don't feel like working out. I'll continue to challenge myself in new ways because I don't want my body to just get used to redundant movement patterns and stuff. Yeah. Even nutritionally, it's like, well, I'll go out the deep end, but I can I'll only get so far where before I'm like, this is not me. I should not be doing this. So I'll go back to either something that I know that works, or even more, sometimes it's, okay, I've been actually intending to go even further with my nutrition by maybe including more supplements or getting rid of added sugars or more of a whole food approach. But it seems like for a season there, I retreat and I go off the deep end before I go even further into my nutrition than I had been before. And I'm sure it'll happen again where I'm like disciplined in that, I'm disciplined in that, and then I'll come back, I'll go off the deep end again, maybe not as severe as I did last time, maybe more severe, who knows, before I go back into it. And my goal personally with my spirit is to like be able to tame myself and envision, what it is going to be like to like close the gap of like, okay, I go back off that deep end. The time I take from retreating backwards to back to moving forward again. I want it to be smaller and smaller and smaller. That's the goal. So, like, what I'm saying is I have struggled. I do struggle. Am currently facing other areas of my life where I'm having to mentally forecast a life that I honestly find really challenging to envision because I've never lived like that before. And yeah, it's scary, but I know that if I continue to just see myself in that image, living that lifestyle, doing the habits, then I know God and the universe are going to make way for me and make way for that life because they've done it. They've done it over and over and over again. And as scary as it is, and as much work as I know it's going to take to get to that point, I'm okay with that because it's not supposed to be easy. Life isn't supposed to be easy. When you want to live a life that is just comfortable all the time, then you're not. I promise you're not going to make progress in your life, and that's what's wrong with people today. Is that you want to be so comfortable, and you don't want to work hard. You don't want to challenge yourself. You don't want to envision something that's bigger than you and scarier than you. And that's the difference. You need to decide that you're not going to your whatever you're dealing with that is unsatisfactory, depressing, overwhelming, toxic, unhealthy, and it's just causing you to move back or down or whatever you want to call it. Just you have to be beyond it by starting in your mind that that's not okay. And the way I can imagine something better, even if it's not the biggest thing, the biggest outcome. Again, the image of going from 300 pounds to 180 pounds is just like, if that's unfathomable, then you need to start somewhere. You need to say, well, I can get to 290. I can get to 295 even. That's imaginable. I can do that. And then you can't stop. You can't retreat and go back to 300 and do it all over again and live that lifestyle again. You have to then get to 295 and say, okay, pat on the back, give myself a reward. Maybe that is a cheat meal. But now you're going to have to do another process of hard work, imagining what does 290 look like? What does 280? What does 275? Whatever that is to you, what does that look like? And I'm just using the weight example because I understand that people battle that for a long, long time. And especially when they think they're doing the right things to lose the weight, or you think you're doing the right things. And this is where I was for a long time with the business. I thought I was doing the right things in business to produce the results I wanted in business. And I just circulated that. I just tried to do the kind of the same thing, but different, same thing, but different, same thing, but different. And like it clearly, I mean, it's not clearly because you don't know the story, but it has not produced the results. So I need to do something drastically different in order to do something that's going to produce drastic results. And in my mind, it is envisioning an outcome that is way bigger than myself. And it's going to be the discipline of sitting down and doing the hard work. So, this is all just straight motivational talk coming from my life personally and how I've witnessed other people living their lives inside of the gym, because I own a gym. And like, I truly want people to just live their best lives, probably because I want to just be able to live my very best life. I want to become the person that I feel like I just want to become. I have, if you feel like you're not living out your potential, it's because you're not. So So use my examples, use my story even. Envision it first. Start small, but if you can envision even bigger, longer goals, go there, and you have to work your way back to today. What can you do today that's different from yesterday that's going to produce the results for you going forward? All right, good luck. Life's a journey. You got to enjoy the process. Okay? Enjoy your process. Enjoy it with good people. Set goals. Let's get after it. Bang.